Hi, I'm Teresa from Phoenix Gate Crafts, and today I'd like to talk about different melt and pour soap bases. I got this set off of Amazon. The price is a little high, but I wound up with 7 bases, each one a little bit different. I am also going to be heading out to the store tomorrow to pick up some other bases in addition to these. So the second half of this video is going to actually be filmed on a different day, but it's going to have more soap base options to talk about. So let's talk about all melt and pour soaps to start with. So all melt and pour soaps have one ingredient that is the same, and that is glycerin. Now, you can get a low sweat melt and pour soap, which means it has less glycerin, and therefore the humectant factors that draw moisture to the soap after it's been melted, or heck, sometimes before it's been melted, aren't as intense. I don't have any of that here. I'm not sure if I'll have that later in the soap. However, aside from glycerin and lye, the other oils and fats involved in making melt and pour soap can be as varied as cold process or hot process ingredients. Let's start with the basic one. Clear melt and pour soap is pretty much the most basic melt and pour soap. Usually the basic clear melt and pour soap is not necessarily the best feeling on the skin. If you get a really cheap clear melt and pour soap, it may not suds particularly well. It's usually pretty awesome for doing things that you want with it, but the quality may not be as awesome for your skin for just a plain clear as it would be if you got like shea butter or Castile soap. And I'll be talking about those later. But regardless, this is a good strong foundation. If you get one that is of a decent quality, you are going to actually get a pretty good soap. And these are all soaps already here in the packaging. I haven't actually tried using the Pifito brand yet, but, well, clearly I will be soon. You'll probably see that in an upcoming video. Next, I want to talk about my 2 absolute favorites, shea butter and aloe vera. Now, shea butter and aloe vera, respectively, are part of the base oils that are added before saponification, which is the mixing of the lye with the oils and fats to actually create the chemical reaction that makes soap. So both of these feel absolutely lovely. They're a bit softer typically than the plain old boring clear, but not by very much. And again, pretty much everything I'll say about these will change a little bit depending on the specific brand that you get. Anything with additional or extra oils or softeners probably isn't going to suds very well, but I've noticed that these don't really have a problem sudsing. And in fact, any blend that has, the softeners and oils added prior to saponification typically don't have too bad of a deal with sudsing up. If you have a base that doesn't suds up, get a different brand because you probably bought cheap. But they all should suds just fine, and these 2 feel absolutely wonderful on your skin. Now, you'll notice that there is a white and aloe is clear. Sometimes shea butters and stuff will add a little bit of titanium dioxide to the blend just to make it a little bit more white, but I've noticed typically shea butter doesn't need to do that. And this one seems to be holding to form. It doesn't say titanium dioxide on there. But regardless, if you have a white base, you're going to need about, I've noticed, honestly, a good 4 or more times the amount of colorant as clear, because it's always going to look like a pastel with the white. However, with the clear, even if it's aloe or hemp seed oil or whatever, you're going to wind up with much brighter colors because the clarity allows you to see the color of your colorant. There's no white in the way. But yes, these two are my absolute favorites. In comparison, the only other one of these I have tried so far is goat milk. Goat milk adds the milk as a replacement for the water in the sodium hydroxide or the lye water solution, not with the oils. So for me, the other brand that I used of goat's milk actually melted a little bit faster than the shea butter, but it also solidified a little bit faster than the shea butter. So just be aware that sometimes, depending on the blend, there might be a little bit of difference between melt point and solidification point. It might not take as much, it might take a little bit more. And if you're really lucky, it'll take a really long time to re-solidify and get a skin. So you actually have time to do a lot with your soap. Next, we have cocoa butter. So, okay, just a little side note. I haven't used this one yet. I am very excited to use it. But do you know what makes something chocolate and not just cocoa? It's cocoa butter. That's why white chocolate, despite the fact it doesn't have any cocoa powder in it, is still technically a chocolate, is because it has cocoa butter and therefore is chocolate. So to my mind, this is chocolate. My husband would disagree with me, and ultimately it doesn't matter who is right, but I'd like to hear your opinion. Is cocoa butter melt and pour soap base technically chocolate? Regardless, it doesn't have any actual cocoa powder in it, and it really isn't recommended to add cocoa powder because the cocoa powder can go bad. But this is a very lovely base. It looks to be just slightly off-white. But yeah, this is also supposed to be very luxurious on the skin. Now, let's talk Castile soap. This is one I had to do a little bit of research into because I'd heard about it before and I just couldn't remember anything about it. So I did some research, and Castile soap is very basic soap. It usually has a very limited number of oils and lye, very few additives, and therefore it's said to be a very basic soap and therefore very gentle and good for things like baby skin. So if you're looking for a base that's really gentle, Castile soap's probably one that you'll want to look for. Now, the last one in this set is hemp seed oil. I did a little bit of research. I have not used this, but the little bit of research I did says that this will not get you high. And honestly, I don't think it would, even if it had like CBD oil in it or anything like that, because soap is a wash-off product, so a lot of that stuff doesn't have time to truly absorb into the skin. However, hemp seed oil is supposed to actually be very good and nourishing for skin. Now, hemp seed oil is oil that is usually cold pressed out of the seed of the hemp plant. So most cannabis actually comes from the leaves and the stems and the flowers, I think. I'm not entirely sure. And that's where a lot of the chemicals that will make you high actually come from, not the seeds. But the hemp seed oil is said to get into your pores and make it so that your skin doesn't over dry. Basically making it so that your body can help self-regulate its own oil production. So that way you don't wind up with dry skin and you don't wind up with overly oily skin. This is also said to be pretty good for acne. However, soap that we make is typically not medicinal. We can add things that we believe are better for our skin, but it typically has a limited effect because it is ultimately a wash-off product, and nothing is moisturizing if you're rinsing it off. Stuff is only moisturizing if it actually has a chance to stay on your skin. That's why, despite the fact that we put lovely fragrance oils and things into our soaps, very rarely does any of that scent stay on our skin for very long. It's because we've washed a vast majority of it off, and basically what's left is just a little bit of soap residue. All right, I'm back. It's been a couple days, and I have a few more soap bases to show you. Let's talk about olive oil soap and avocado soap. So this one's avocado cucumber, and I don't know what the cucumber does per se. I mean, it's supposed to be moisturizing. That's why you're supposed to like stick cucumber slices over your eyes. And that's because cucumbers have a high water content. I mean, that's more with how the little bits of it kind of hold water, like the cells hold water. So cucumber itself being moisturizing, I find a little dubious. But avocado and olive oil soap bases, in terms of why a lot of people like them, are pretty much the same. They both have a very gentle nature. Olive oil soap is often used as a gentle makeup remover. It doesn't have a pH balance. None of these have a pH balance, so you don't want to get them into your eyes. You know, both of them are very gentle on the skin. They both have anti-inflammatory properties. Again, this is a wash-off product, whether that's particularly beneficial because it doesn't stay in the skin. It does feel very luxurious and soft. Because avocado oil and olive oil are used in both of these soaps, they have a higher oil content. You know, they're adding the oils pre-saponification, so it is all turned into soap. But it doesn't have quite as good of a lather, I've noticed. I made some of this soap with my husband. Yes, quite a bit of that shine is there on purpose. This is a lovely soap. It feels wonderful. It is fairly solid. I mean, they're all solid enough, but it is softer feeling, I guess is what you'd say. Now, the olive oil soap is a clear soap, as you can see. And the avocado cucumber soap, at least this one is white. I'm going to assume that they're all white. I genuinely don't know. But the olive oil soap does take color very well. So as you can see, 3 distinct colors inside that I've managed to mix together at a low enough temperature that they mixed but didn't blend, if you know what I mean. If you're interested in this soap, you can find it or others like it as supplies last on my Etsy shop. Gotta do the obligatory plug. But you can find it at etsy.com/shop/PhoenixGateCrafts. But yeah, I used this olive oil soap when I made this with my husband. So really nice. Throws off scent pretty well too. And theoretically gentle enough to take off makeup. Hey, who doesn't love having a natural makeup remover? That's really handy. Kind of sucks when soaps don't do that. And last but not least, Donkey Milk Soap. I haven't used this one yet, and this is not one I would have ever considered, except that I know that a lot of people absolutely love it. It's said to be pretty luxurious, has a nice creamy lather, hydrates and softens skin, reduces skin irritations, and all of that is pretty much like all the other luxurious bases that I've mentioned so far in this video. But this one is also supposed to be really good for kind of anti-aging properties. Things like erasing wrinkles, regenerating the skin, provides natural anti-aging skincare, protects from ever-present danger of bacterial infections, and it's also supposed to help people with eczema, neurodermatitis, and psoriasis. Though it's a wash-off thing, it's not actually medical or medicated. I mean, it's soap. And that's the thing with all soaps that we make, is that although they're said to be good for this, good for that, you know, this one's gentle enough for babies, that's the Castile soap, or Donkey Milk Soap is really good for anti-aging, and olive oil soap is said to be anti-inflammatory with antioxidants and really good for taking off makeup and all that stuff. They're not medicated. That's not really how soap works. Soap is a chemical that doesn't actually kill germs. Unless you're putting specific medicines in it, it is not medicated. It might have antibacterial properties, but it is not truly going to kill most bacterium. It's not 70% alcohol. It's not going to kill COVID or anything like that. The way soap works to clean your skin is that basically when you get a lather and get a little bit of it on, it makes germs and other dirt and grime or whatever's on your skin, it gets it off by making it slippery, making it slip off of your hands and into the water as it washes it away. You know, my favorite soap so far has been a mixture of the aloe soap base with the shea butter, although after having made this one tonight, this is a different barb, but the same thing. After having made this one tonight and using some of the remnants from this, you know, this does feel really nice on my skin too. This is the olive oil soap. But all it's doing is basically not drying out your skin by washing away your oils. Because it's adding a little bit of extra oil onto your hand, it's not stripping your hand. Well, I should say it's not allowing the water to strip away the natural oils that are in your skin. That's how soap works. It doesn't add anything. It doesn't stay on your hands long enough to add anything. And the reason you need 20 seconds minimum to wash your hands is because you need to make sure that the scrubbing action has enough time to get the soap underneath anything that's on your skin so that then the water can wash it away. That doesn't mean you can't have an absolutely lovely bar of soap though, and that doesn't mean you can't make a soap that feels luxurious. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Sorry to get lectury there on the end, but it is important to remember where the boundaries lie with soaps. Happy crafting! Bye!